We're going to be talking about the 5 reasons why most laundry businesses fail, especially the laundry pickup and delivery ones, okay? So, if your business can survive the first 90 days, there's a chance that you're doing something right. And that means even if you're not completely perfect, you can still adjust. But if you fail within the first 90 days, that means you're probably doing one of these things I'm about to name, okay? So, when it comes to failing within the first 90 days, all right, there's a 90-day reality check that you are going to go through, right? In the first 90 days, you might be thinking most laundry businesses do not fail, right? The key word is do not fail, right? So if your business fails and you're about to thinking, okay, what happened? What did I do wrong? What did I miss? Why is other people successful? Just starting off and then, I started off and I failed. Okay, the reasons you did not fail is because there's not enough demand. There is enough demand out there. So if you're saying, oh, I failed because I didn't have any customers, well, sorry to break it to you. There are customers out there. They just didn't want to come to you. If you failed because you say, oh, laundry isn't profitable, say you were charging too low and you weren't making any money, so you ended up going out of business, that's not our fault. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? Laundry is pretty profitable. And if you know how to price it, just like I mentioned in some of my other videos, you actually can make money, okay? And the last one is pretty much that the model doesn't work. If you try to say that this model doesn't work, you're only lying to yourself. There are laundromats out there that are doing this model, making hundreds of $1,000s every month. There are people that start off from scratch, start doing this, and make within $100 within the first couple weeks. So it's one of those things where they failed because of the cash flow mismanagement, operational mistakes, and unrealistic expectations in the first 3 months. One more time. You failed because of the cash flow mismanagement, operational mistakes, and the unrealistic expectations within the first 3 months, okay? So let's break down why you failed, okay? I don't want to just tell you, oh, you suck, you failed, things didn't work out, because you probably were trying, you probably didn't know. So what I'm going to do is in this video is going to break down how you can actually be more successful, okay? So one of the biggest reasons why most people fail is because they underprice, okay? You probably underpriced to get the customers, but at the end of the day, just because you charge $125 or $175 per pound trying to compete on price doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Why? Because other people are charging in the $2. Some people are getting close to almost $3. So imagine you're charging $125. The laundromat is probably charging you, say, $1. You're making 25 cents, not including gas, all that. So at the end of the day, so say like this, like the math doesn't work out. So say the customer pays you $35, say it's the 20 times the 175, right? You make $35. The laundromat, you pay them $20 just for the laundromat to do all the work. Then the driver, whether it's you or somebody else, the $6 goes to the driver, processing and gas. So even if when you get the processing payment for Square, Stripe, all that, they charge you, and gas alone is going to charge. So boom, another $4. So the total cost just for the whole order is $30. And the only thing you make profit is $5. After doing all that order, after picking it up, delivering it, doing all that work, you only make $5. The one mistake, if you make one mistake, you have to give a refund or do a rewash. You already are in the loss. Okay. So at the end of the day, because you're charging too low, making a little bit of money, and then having to pay the laundromat, the drivers, and the processing, you're not making enough profit. Okay. So the reality is, if you actually want to make some money, right, you have to like I said, you have to charge in the $2, $3 range. If there are people charging $2.25, $3, and you're charging $1.25, who do you think is going to be more profitable? Okay, so at the end of the day, the target is going to be around the $20, $30 per order. I actually go for the $40, $50, but I'm saying I'm a little better than you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, the average, realistically, you can go for the $20, $30 per order. Meaning the average person might not give you too much clothes, but the clothes that they give you, you can make $20, $30 per order, right? If you do it correctly, okay? The second mistake that most people make is that they pay the drivers before the business can actually support it. So if you get one order and you start hiring drivers left and right, and you start promising all this money, and you're paying them hourly or salary or whatever it is, and you're losing money. So say you're hiring drivers at 5 to 7 orders a day, you're paying them $20 an hour, or you're paying them, say, like a high per stop rate, meaning every time they stop somewhere or every time they do an order, you pay them. At the end of the day, so say the driver is costing you $8, right? They're doing around 6 orders, maybe a little more. The average between 5 to 7. Say around 6. The cost per order is going to cost you around $13+, right? That alone wipes out the profit. Meaning, if you're paying the driver $80, and then because it's kind of like earlier, if you're only making $35 per order and you're paying the driver $80, $13 per order, bro, you're not making any money. Okay, so this is how you should do it, right? Founders should handle deliveries until pretty much you get 10 to 15 orders a day. The reason why this is so important is because if you can do the orders yourself, you save a lot of money. You save a lot of labor, because at the end of the day, if the $80 you would have to pay somebody else, that $80 comes to you. The $80 that you would have to have an expense, that actually comes down to you, and it maybe comes through your profits. But at the end of the day, it's better for you to suffer and you not to get paid rather than not paying your drivers, not paying their laundromat. Okay, so the drivers should cost around $5 to $6 per order. $5 to $7 per order. And this is kind of realistically, because if usually the way it works is they're gonna pick it up and drop it off for you, and because you're gonna have around say 10 or 15 orders a day, the 5 to 7 starts to add up quick. You start to make from 50 to $100 every day. The next thing that people do that pretty much cost them their business is because no upfront payment, cash flow debt. So what happens is customers pay after the delivery. The reason why this is so horrible is because you already did all the work and now you're waiting on payment. The payment, it might come in after the delivery, or it might never come in. The worst part is if you get ghosted. Sometimes, I believe it or not, this happened to me. Whenever I first started off, I was so happy to just get any customer that I possibly could, that people would come to me, I would do the order, and then they would take forever to pay. But say say your order, I pick it up today, your order's done today, I bring it back to you today, and you still haven't paid. So I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna pay me, by the end of the day. Then one day goes by, 2 days go by, a week go by, a month go by. Next thing you know, I'm sending text message, calling them, they're blocking me, whatever. I just don't get my money. Okay. And then disputes, refunds suck. You know what I'm saying? Every once in a while, you're going to mess up an order and you're going to have to give a refund. If you start messing up on your first couple orders and you're giving refunds left and right, not only are you not making any money, man, it's going to really cost you. Okay. So say you have 10 orders at $50 an order, right? $500 outstanding. If you miss 2 payments, $100 loss. That wipes out your profit right there. So at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you actually have to make sure that you're collecting the payment before the pickup, or before you even start processing the order. If you take it to the laundromat, what I do is when I take it to the laundromat and the laundromat tells me the weight, I start charging the customer right then and there. Sometimes what you can even do is have a scale so that you can weigh out the clothes at the person's house and charge them before you even pick it up. Okay, no exceptions. People are gonna try to tell you excuses. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. No. At the end of the day, if you don't got the money, I can't do the order. Sorry about that. No credit accounts on early on. Meaning, don't let people be like, can I create IOUs and da. No. If you don't have the money, I cannot do the order. It's as simple as that, because you have to make money. You have to drive, pay the laundromat, do all this stuff. So you don't want to work for free. You're not a volunteer. If you are, that's fine. Just don't do that with laundry pickup and delivery. Like go and feed people at the homeless shelter or something. But don't waste your time and gas and effort doing pickup and delivery. So the next one is pretty much they're not consistent with their resources, and hope is pretty much their strategy. At the end of the day, if you're just posting on Instagram and waiting for the calls, and you put in a couple flyers suck. They don't have any your phone number. They don't have a barcode that they can scan to get to book online. Of course you're not getting any customers. And because you're not getting customers, you're sad. So at the end of the day, you go 1 week without no leads, you're making no money. And at the end of the day, if you have a fixed income, meaning you're paying for, say, you still have to pay your car note, you still have to pay for gas and stuff to go places, do things. You at the end of the day, you still have to pay for those things, and you're making no money. That's why it sucks. So if you're making no money, it's gonna be long, but it's not gonna be long before you go to business, okay? And so if you're making no money, week 1 comes by, week 2 comes by, week 3 comes by, and at the end of the day, you're not making any money. So what happens? Your momentum dies, okay? So at the end of the day, this is the one thing you can fix. The one thing you want to do is have a minimum weekly activity, okay? So you actually want to be going out there. Don't wait for the money to come to you. Go and get the money, okay? Don't be reactive, be proactive. What you want to do is do at least 200 to 300 flyers a day, a week, right? The thing about the flyers is they have to be good flyers. Because at the end of the day, you can make flyers left and right, up and down, whatever you want. But at the end of the day, if the flyers aren't effective, if they don't have a barcode or something that people can scan to get do a booking, if they don't have a phone number that people can call you and ask you questions, if they don't have it to where it's a promotion that makes people want to actually entice and go and do it, you're not going to be making any money. So you have to increase your chances of actually getting customers so that you lose momentum, so that you don't go out of business, so that you're not, consuming all the fixed costs, having to pay all these bills and not making any money, okay? And the next one is pretty much the Google profile optimization. The Google profile is one of the best ways to get organic leads because Google does all the work for you. People are searching, hey, where's laundry business near me? Laundromat near me? Laundry pickup and delivery near me? And Google's doing all the work. They're going to go and show you off. So at the end of the day, if your Google profile sucks, you have low ratings, you have bad reviews, it's not optimized, it doesn't have any keywords, you're not going to be getting any customers. And of course, if you're not getting customers, like I said, it goes back to the thing where if you're not making any money and you're just paying all these bills, your momentum is going to die quickly, okay? So at the end of the day, what you want to do is pretty much make sure your Google profile is optimized so that you actually can make, good money, so that you can actually get organic leads, Okay, so what you can do is expect 2 to 4 new leads weekly consistently, meaning Google is going to help you out. Google's going to do the work. As long as you do your part and help Google out, Google's going to help you back out too. You scratch their back, they're going to scratch yours. So at the end of the day, if you optimize your Google profile, man, I'm telling you, that's one of the believe it or not, that's my 99% of my traffic I get comes from Google. Swear to God. Because at the end of the day, Google does all the work for me. I just optimize like there's no tomorrow. I just optimize the websites like there's no tomorrow, okay? The next one, the mistake that people make is they scale too fast within systems, without systems. So at the end of the day, if you add too many drivers early, if you expand your service area, places you can't go, so say you pretty much hire a bunch of drivers that you can't afford. You try to go to places that you're actually not in, states or local places that you're not in, and then you take too many orders. So then you're making false promises to all these people saying, hey, we're gonna pick up your order today and bring it back today, and you actually don't. What happens is people start to be mad, people start to give you bad reviews, and that starts to kill your Google profile, and you start to get less traffic. Less traffic means less money. Less money means you're going out of business. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to, you know what I'm saying? Because think about it like this: missed pickups, late deliveries, refunds, bad reviews. All these things are going to kill your profit margins. At the end of the day, bad reviews make it to where people are not going to want to come back, or the new people aren't going to want to come to you. Refunds, you're literally giving people their money back after you did all that work. Late deliveries is going to make it to where people want to give you bad reviews. Missed pickups, people are not going to trust you. I'm telling you. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to fix this, because look, one bad review can just drop your conversion rates by 10 to 20%. 3 bad reviews can stall your growth completely. So meaning, imagine having a Google profile where your business depends on, well, not really, because there's many ways to get organic leads. But say Google profile where 90% of your customers are coming through, you're making an extra $5,000, $10,000 a month off of the Google profile, and then you want to start, giving refunds, making missing pickups, and doing late deliveries, and getting all these bad reviews. Man, your Google profile is going to practically shut down. Google's not going to recommend you to anybody. There's all these people that aren't missing deliveries, all these people that aren't making mistakes, and their businesses are going to keep growing while yours is going to stall. Okay, so and the reality is, in the first 90 days, the one thing that you want to focus on is one service area. Do the places that's closest to you. Do your side of town. Do the nicest side of town. Whatever it is, find one service area. Don't go to 10 cities at once. Don't go to different states when you know you can't go do pickups and hire people. Just start at one service area, okay? One delivery window. At the end of the day, if you're doing this part-time and you have a full-time job, make it to where you have one delivery window. We only pick up every day from 2 to 5. We only pick up every day from 2 to 5. So when people are scheduled to pick up, they have to do it between 2 to 5. Why is that so important? Because at the end of the day, it saves you time, effort, and money. So instead of having to drive around all day long, go from here to here, go back to your house, and then 2 minutes later, do another pickup, and then you're in the middle of shopping, get an order, and have to go do another pickup, what you can do is pretty much set it all up to where they're all back to back to back to back. So one person's at 12:30, the next person's at 1 o'clock, the next person's at 1:15, the next person's at 1, whatever it is. You pretty much set it up to where you have it all in one window, okay? And then one pricing model. At the end of the day, you don't want to confuse people on how much you charge, and people should be able to understand how much you charge transparently, clearly, and effectively. So if you charge $225 for the next day, $299 same day, perfect. Make sure you communicate that so people understand. Okay. So at the end of the day, there are things that people do as mistakes that result in negative consequences. So if you're underpricing, you're not going to make any money. If you hire too many people too quickly, you're gonna spend too much money and not be able to afford it, because people are going to be expecting you to pay them and you don't have anything to pay them with. Okay, so no prepayment, meaning you don't want to be telling people, hey, I'm gonna let you take the payment later on, or I'm gonna give you 30 days to pay all that. No, at the end of the day, because you're not gonna run out of money, and you're not gonna have people actually coming to you, because people are gonna start thinking that, okay, I don't have to pay him, and I'm never gonna pay him. Okay, inconsistent marketing, meaning if you're not going to the people and you're just expecting the people to come to you, yeah, good luck, because at the end of the day, there's people out there that are going and actually chasing down your customers. So it's while you're standing around doing nothing, there's somebody else that passed a flyer and stole your customer. Okay, so what surviving businesses do differently? This is one of the most important parts. Okay, so they charge correctly from day one. At the end of the day, if you charge correctly, like I said, your pricing is transparent, your pricing is efficient, people know what you charge and how much you charge. People can come to you and know from the top of their head, once I do an order with you today, I can come back tomorrow and know that your prices are still the same. That's when people start to trust you. You handle deliveries themselves early on, meaning if you're doing all of the work, you save a lot of labor costs, because you don't have to pay somebody else to do all the work. You don't have to pay them for the gas, you don't have to pay them for the labor, you don't have to pay them to do a lot of the work. And part of the reason why even one of the secrets that you can do is, just like how people handle deliveries themselves early on, if you have a washer and dryer, you actually can handle the washing and drying yourself early on, and which saves you even more money, gives you even more profit. Okay, you collect payment up front. One of the best things you can do is invest in a scale that lets you weigh the people's clothes out before you even take it to the laundromat, so that you can charge the people before you even get there. If the person doesn't pay, you don't even take it back to the you don't even take it to the laundromat. You can take it back to the customer. If the person doesn't pay by the time you leave the parking lot, you can just take it back to their house. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you collect the money, because the money is what's going to help you. And the reason why collecting the money is so beautiful is because, say that you charge the customer $50, but the laundromat charges you $30, you actually can get the $50 up front, go to the laundromat, and you could pay, but you already have the money. The profit's already in your account. You already paid the laundromat, and everything works out for you. Market locally every week. At the end of the day, you never want to give up. Kind of like say, you want to go after the people and don't expect them to come to you. Improve your system before scaling. At the end of the day, whenever you can handle deliveries on your own when you first start off, but when you start getting commercial clients and things get harder and more stressful, you want to be able to improve your systems. You don't want to just have it to where your website still sucks or you're still using Google Forms. When you start to kind of make money, you cross the $5,000, $10,000 mark every month, you can invest to kind of improve your system and make it look more professional, make it look nicer. Then you can start even running ads and stuff, do things things or even do more flyers, then you can even pay more people. But pretty much when you start to scale, you improve your systems first so that you can handle that scale, okay? So to survive on the 90-day benchmark, these are pretty much the tips that you can use, okay? At the end of the day, this is probably the most important section. I want you guys to take a screenshot. I want you to write this down. I want you to put this in your notes. Take a screenshot, use your phone thing to edit, whatever. But at the end of the day, guys, okay, so this pretty much comes down to this. If you're not charging within the $2.25 to $3 mark, you're losing money. I'm not lying to you, bro. If you don't charge between the $2.25 to $3 mark, you're losing money. It's non-negotiable, okay? At the end of the day, your goal is going to be to try to get to 8 to 12 orders a day. This makes it to where you're not only going to be making good money, but you're going to be able to do this full time if you wanted to, and you're going to be able to pay all your bills and actually have a good profit. The profit, you want to be between 30 to 20 bucks. At the end of the day, if you can make 20 bucks an order, do 5 orders a day, that's 100 bucks naturally, casually that you're doing without having to really stress, okay? The weekly revenue should be around $500 to $1,000, meaning if you're doing, say, like I said, if you're doing 5 orders a day at 20 bucks an order, and you know 100 bucks, you work 5 days out of the week, that's $500. Say you want to start, you making 30 bucks off of it, and you want to work more days, you can get close to $1,000. At the end of the day, you can make $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month, even more by simply having a good pricing, good amount of orders, and good profit. Okay. The last one, this one I think is kind of slept on. That's why I kind of added it in here. This one is one of the most important, guys. I don't think you guys understand how important this one is. This one is actually my favorite. Google reviews are going to be your key to success. Kind of like how we talk about the Google business thrives off of the Google profile page. But if the Google profile page doesn't have any reviews, people aren't leaving comments saying you're amazing, people aren't posting pictures of how well you're doing with the laundry, you're not going to have people that can see what you're capable of. If I show you a picture of myself dunking, or if I show you a video of me going, to skate, going on a ski trip last year, you're going to be like, wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you guys actually got to visualize it. But if I just told you I went on a ski trip last year and it was fun, you're going to be like, that's nice. But it's one of those things where people like to visualize it. If people can see your stars and see that you have 10 plus 5-star reviews, if people can see your pictures and see that you have many orders that you've done, they see the different apartments, people are going to start to trust you. That's going to make it to where you get even more organic leads. And the more organic leads you get, even more organic leads. And the more organic leads you get, even more organic leads. And it's a tongue twister. The more organic leads you get gives you even more organic leads. So at the end of the day, guys, the bottom line is this. Laundry delivery businesses don't fail because of ideas bad. They fail because the owner ignores the math in the first 90 days. I broke down to you the math, guys. If you're pricing too low, if you don't have enough people, if you're not making enough profit, and you're not making enough money in the week, and you don't have shitty reviews, guys, come on. You have to be able to have good reviews, have good pricing, have good profits. And at the end of the day, you have to have good customers coming through your door. It's really as simple as it gets. You can start this over if you really need help, starting all over, if you didn't something that makes sense to you. Take some screenshots if it helps. Ask ChatGPT what you can do better, whatever it is. But it's one of those things where this is really as simple as it gets. If you avoid the things that I mentioned, and if you do the things that I mentioned, you are going to be able to be profitable. You are going to be able to, make money. Okay. So at the end of the day, those are the things that you have to do. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a like, comment, ask me in the comment section. But, I hope you find this helpful, and I hope it stops your business from failing the first 90 days.